If you're watching this video, you've probably seen that Olympic archery swing video which has been trending again. And you probably have two questions. Why is it on the recommended list? And did war archers shoot like this? The answer to the second question is no, of course not. That's ridiculous. In fact, I thought I made it pretty clear in the video title that this was specifically Olympic archers. Not war archers or military archers or historical archers, Olympic archers. So why do modern Olympic archers do things one way and historical war archers do things a different way? So down there we have a standard IPSC target. Apart from one or two slight outliers, most of the arrows are grouping right in the center of mass. So if this was a military context, you could say these are 10 kill shots. And that's with a Mongolian bow with a Mongolian draw. So this answers a few questions. Do you have to drop the bow to shoot accurately? No, you don't. Did historical archers like Mongols drop the bow? No, they didn't. What happens if you want to shoot multiple arrows or shoot rapidly or repeatedly? You don't drop the bow. And do modern archers have to use sights to hit this target at 10 meters? No, of course not. I'm not claiming to be the living arrow. There are people who shoot much faster, much more accurately at greater distances. I would imagine someone like Lars Kashai or Mihai Cosme could do this much better and achieve the same grouping up to around 30 or 40 meters. So we can definitely see that being improved. Understand, however, that modern sport archery and historical war archery have very different goals. This would be very much acceptable for a military context. This would be unacceptable for a sporting context. A modern Olympic recurve shooter is shooting at a target about this size, and the 10 ring is about the size of a DVD. Now, if we transpose our grouping onto this target, I'd say pretty safely that I could hit nearly every shot in the 10 ring, except that this is being shot at from 70 meters, not 7 meters. If we were to scale down the target size to shoot a close distance target, that is to reduce the target by a factor of 10, the target size at 7 meters would be this size. So at 7 meters, that's what it would look like to an Olympic archer. And you're not hitting the target, you're hitting specifically in that gold dot in the middle. An experienced Olympic-style shooter with sights and stabilizers should expect to hit all those gold centers from this distance about 95% of the time. In gaming terms, this is essentially pixel-perfect sniping. This highlights an important fundamental difference between modern sport and historical archery. Modern sport counts points. Historical archery counts hits. Most forms of historical target shooting or historical competitions were very much based off the warfare and the preparation for war that archers would be expected to go through. And the competitions, therefore, were to count whether you could hit the target, how far away you could hit the target, how many targets you could hit, how fast you could hit them. Modern target archery, as a sport, doesn't count hits. It counts how close you are to the center. So to maximize the number of points on target, not hits, the techniques and equipment have developed in order to be more streamlined and efficient for this purpose. That is why modern archery equipment looks so weird with all these fancy rods and sights, and that is why modern archers do what they do. The whole idea of dropping the bow or letting it swing is a modern thing. It's the result of a relaxed grip, because a relaxed grip offers the most consistency. A tense grip offers the most control. This is applicable in modern firearms. For example, someone shooting a modern rifle in war today has to hold the rifle fairly tightly to control recoil. Whereas if you're shooting for precision, such as being a sniper or being a sport target shooter, then you want the least amount of interference. And tense grips, tense muscles have the most instability. Historical archers fighting a war would have to consider other factors, including the distance, range, and the power necessary to penetrate through armor and deliver lethal shots. The most powerful bows require very strong grips, and many historical manuals will teach the importance of a strong grip. But again, remember that a war archer is either shooting at a whole person or a person on a horse at relatively short distances, or they're aiming at a general formation of enemies at long distance. A modern target shooter is trying to achieve the most accurate shot possible at much further distances than what historical archers or traditional archers would try to accomplish. Now, some people have noted some similarities with modern archery and traditional archery. For example, in Kudo, they have a very similar technique where the bow is allowed to rotate in the hand. That is an example of a relaxed grip and a loose follow-through. That is not quite the same thing, but the bow is allowed to move out the way. There's also the katra, which is quite popular in many Asiatic styles, such as Turkish archery, where the archer will push the bow as they release. So there's a continuous forward motion, in which case the bow swings to the side or swings down, or both, in which case the archer is trying to accelerate the arrow with more force. Now, that's not a follow-through. That is, in fact, an active component of the shot process for that particular style of archery. So there are several historical methods and traditional methods which look like a swing, but don't function the same way as a modern follow-through. And just remember, no matter what your opinion is of archery or particular styles of archery, I'm not here to tell you how to do archery. I'm explaining why certain people do certain things. If you can shoot your bow fine without using modern equipment or modern techniques, then all the more power to you. Bear in mind that most people aren't shooting in the same environment, in the same conditions, for the same goals. So you can't really compare different styles when they're used for different purposes. Just remember, archery has been used for warfare for hundreds of years. And to expect people today to shoot bows for the exact reasons people did hundreds of years ago is a bit ridiculous. Now, this isn't saying that people can't do that. And again, we come to another assumption that modern archery or Olympic archery is the only kind of archery. That's completely false. There are many different kinds of archery. There's modern Olympic archery, there's traditional archery, and of course there are still people in schools that teach historical archery. And you can do whatever archery you want. If you don't like modern archery, don't do modern archery. If you want to do historical archery, shoot like the English archers of days gone by, or shoot like Koreans or Japanese or Mongols, you can definitely do that. We are fortunate in the modern day that we can pick and choose what style we want. So if this sort of thing interests you, and especially if you've been following my videos and channel because you were recommended, then I highly encourage you to try archery. Whether it's modern, traditional, or historical, every form of archery is appealing in its own way, and every style is beautiful. Anyway, I do hope you maintain your interest in archery. This is NUSensei. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.